Going on, everybody? Happy Memorial Day. It's your boy. Oh, wait, that's right. Not everybody watching is my boy. My haters are my biggest fans. Hi, Rihanna. Those of you hip hop heads know that reference. Yeah, happy holiday weekend. Happy Memorial Day. Combination of lack of motivation and the holiday weekend. I didn't really want to call in a favor on a holiday week. I know people are traveling, things like that. I wasn't going to record, but I had a good week to reevaluate, think about what's going on in my life. A lot of things going on, a lot of crazy stuff. I've said multiple times that this has been therapy for me. And with May being Mental Health Awareness Month, I figured what better, opportunity to come on here and kind of vent a little bit, catch up. It's been a while since I talked about my mental health and where my state of mind is right now. You know, this week it felt like the opposite of a therapy session doing this. It felt like a chore. I had no desire to call anybody to come on. Some, you know, health issues, feeling kind of shitty. I've kind of realized now I can't fake it anymore. The rheumatoid arthritis has gotten too bad. I can't go without a doctor or insurance. You just can't live life that way. It sucks. For those of you that don't know what rheumatoid arthritis is, it's an autoimmune disease. My antibodies think my cartilage is disease, so it eats at it. When you get to go to sleep at night when you're sick and your immune system works crazy and you wake up the next day and you're a little tired, well, that's me 365 days a year. My immune system is always on. Um, I take a shot to help slow it down and shut it off, but I haven't had that shot in 6 months. When I go a couple months without it, I can fake it. But now I can't. I mean, it's getting to the point my finger is about 3 times the size it normally is. My knee is like the size of a palm ball, the basketballs I'm talking about. So that's kind of it. That's me now. I got to make sure I have the right doctor and the right insurance. Unfortunately, my doctor that I love retired this past spring, and now it's back to the drawing board. While thinking about it, I started laughing at the fact, back to mental health. It's been 24 months since I wrote down the answers to the question on the questionnaire that said, yes, I'd like to talk to somebody. I need some help. Yeah, I still haven't heard back from him. Oh, wait, that's right. I heard back from him to tell me that because I left on the day of my last appointment because I had to get to work and didn't wait in the 2 hour line to give blood, he dropped me as a patient. That's right. That's the only way I heard from him. Sorry, I had to get back to work, and that's at least the way I was thinking. At that time, that's all that mattered. Every penny, every lesson. It was how much money can I make this year without killing myself. I hope my former employer remembers that every time he starts talking about we make no money in the club business. Well, 2/3 of my income was based on my lessons. Um, it's a lot of money when you took 50%. So you were starting the year charging me $55,000-$60,000 a year rent. I would have rather just pay a set flat monthly rent fee and let me grind what I wanted to grind. But it is what it is. You said that's why because we pay you a salary. Well, no, you didn't. You actually paid me negative $10,000 a year if you do it that way. But again, I was never unhappy with my former employer. I was unhappy with the way I was getting grinded and not appreciated. I told him I would switch to just club fitting. I didn't want to do the member stuff anymore. He said there's no value to them in that. Okay, we'll see where the numbers are. Bye, Rihanna. uh, what came up with the bye Rihanna, hi Rihanna stuff was Joel Ortiz was one of the artists that we used to deal with. One night he came up, performed in Providence with Don De Niro was there, and Temperamento, and a couple guys, and New Bedford was out in full force, and they showed us love while they were there. So it's one of those guys. He performed that on the BET Awards while I was working for Gino Green, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. Speaking of Don De Niro, you know, all you new Bills fans, yeah, I don't really want to hear it. But the guys that have been Bills fans die hard and had listened to the Pats fans chirp for 20 years, it's time to get your flowers. If a couple of AFC championships is going to make you guys happy, it, by all means celebrate. He's got a good new podcast called In the Business. He's with Irv Gotti's brother Chris, and they talk about the business of hip hop and the industry. And you, sir, are welcome to join myself and Liam Freeman at the tailgate in New England on October 22nd for Pat's Bills. So just want to put that out there. I think it'll be fun. Again, we're trying to set all these things up. Juan, I know I see you at the barbecues, man. Come on, fam. DJ Khalid, let's play some golf. I'll jump on I-95 South as soon as you say yes. Let's go play Adios. We'll play, a couple other contacts that I have down there. Every member is going to say yes if I call them and say, hey, you got room for 3? We'll pay our guest fees. Come on. Let's go. I know he's busy, but let's go golfing, right? That's what he says every day. Honestly, for real, though, either one of you guys want to come on and talk some golf, you're always welcome. I know you guys are busy. If you call me and say, hey, I can do 4 a.m., I'm going to be on a plane going so-and-so, I'll be up at 4 a.m. You know me. I'm a hustler. I'm a grinder. I'll do whatever it takes to get you guys on the podcast. I think it's awesome what DJ Khaled's doing for golf. Couldn't have happened at a better time. You get that going on with the Jordan Brand stuff. And then you get Michael Block, the PGA Championship, lighting it up and fulfilling everybody's dreams. 29,000 PGA professionals lived their dreams through Michael Block last weekend. And I think it's awesome. It's cool to see him with the fashion brands, Jordan Brand, Nike gear with the hoodies and things like that. He's a public golf guy. He's a member at a club where they love his vibe. They love what he does. They love the fact that he's playing golf. They take pride in seeing him playing in the PGA Championship. And I think it's awesome. People have been going back and forth on my thoughts, and my thoughts are it's awesome. He's everything that is good about the golf industry, but for every one of him, there's one of me where we've left the golf industry and we're not happy again. COVID was on a high. I mean, I'm sorry, golf was on a high due to COVID, and the COVID hangover is kind of setting in, and we needed that new spark. And, he did in 4 days what every golf pro has set out to do from the moment they picked up a golf club and decided to make it a career. He grew the game, right? Everybody had fun this weekend. They were rocking out with him. He was rocking out with them. It was awesome. I love it. I love to see it. And judging by the sound of it, it seems like he found a gig where he can have a life. He can have a family life. He can play golf. He can teach only the amount of lessons where he enjoys teaching again. That's awesome. It's so good to see that side of it and see a guy that actually got to where he was trying to be and is being compensated as he should be. It's much more common to find a job like that in a 12-month climate, but even then, jobs like that are fewer and farther between. It's funny, I was randomly called by a golf professional, a former golf professional. He's recently left the business this morning, and it turned into an hour, kind of vent session about us kind of agreeing on a lot of things that I bring to light on this podcast. I'm not trying to be the negative, angry golfer. Uh, I, I want to have fun episodes, and I plan on having fun episodes. We're gonna have some guys that play golf, and the Tasho episode and Tommy Harrison that won the state football. That was great. For some reason, it didn't upload on Spotify. I don't understand why. It went everywhere but that. But like I said from the beginning, this is a kind of making the podcast. You guys are gonna see me make my mistakes, but we're gonna work through it. No, but seriously, people asking how good at golf is Michael Block. Since he brought up the man himself, I'll tell a story. Who's heard the story Barkley tells about Jordan? Playing Puerto Rico in the Olympics. Jordan and Barkley played 36 holes of golf in the morning, and they came in the locker room, and Chuck Daly was like, "Scotty, you're guarding the point guard." And Jordan looked at him and said, "I'm guarding the point guard." And Chuck Daly's like, "No, but we got Pip. What? I'm guarding the point guard." And he absolutely made it his point. I guess the point guard had been talking trash about him, and MJ heard it. And obviously, MJ shut him down and shut it up, right? He blew him out. Now, the picture of that dude from Puerto Rico manning up and saying, "I'm going to drop 30 tonight," and Puerto Rico almost beating the Dream Team, right? Michael Block didn't win. He finished top 15. He had a great finish. He almost won. He was there. So that's kind of my analogy. Jordan played 36 and then went and shut the dude down because NBA players are that much better, right? Dude from Puerto Rico's a stud. He's playing for the national team. He's in the Olympics, right? Michael Block can play. It's one of those things where he's just not going to compete with DJ and Rory and week in and week out. So he found a job where he can play when he wants to and do what he does and what the PGA of America does for that one championship a year. And now it's led to him getting sponsors exemptions. Since I wrote this episode, he's finished dead last at Colonial, but who could have saw that coming, right? A guy's been gone from being a club pro, kind of known by nobody, to being the talk of the town and being interviewed and doing this, that, and the other thing. And let's be honest, he was out Saturday night at a pub posing for pictures prior to the final round. So I'm sure he did a little bit of partying this week too, as he should have, well deserved. So I hope Colonial gives him an invite next year so he has the time to plan and be ready to play in that event. But it'll be interesting to see what he does at the BC Open, and good for him. That's awesome. Um, it's cool to see, while watching the tournament, it kind of hit home back to the mental health aspect of things, right? You notice he was the life of the party without being in the party. That's the best way to live life. Anybody that's been to a club or with me when I was in college and I was DJing, always behind the rope. I'm fine with going to a club, but I'd rather spend a couple $100 on a bottle of vodka to get a table and not have to deal with anybody. I'll be at the table with a drink in my hand. You guys can go out on the dance floor, do your thing, but I'm still having a good time, right? That's kind of the social stuff that I deal with. I'd much rather be in a big crowd than a medium-sized crowd. That's why I DJ'd in college. I was the party, right? I mean, I was always there. I was always drinking. But when the fights broke out, I never had to get involved. I get to stay out of the drama because I was behind the wall. So, yeah, it's a lot hit home, and the more you start to think about it, the more it resonates with you, right? The further I get down this road with mental health, the thing that I realized the biggest mistake I made in my life was not talking to the therapist at Methodist when my friend decided to take his own life. But I ask you all this that are listening. Most of you guys are golf professionals or males that play golf. And for the few 10-15% of females that are watching too, how many of you at 19 years old would have been strong enough to talk to a therapist that reminded you of your grandmother? We've come a long way in the 20 years since then, and I don't think we'd look back and say that was a very good fit for me. Remember that the next time you tell somebody, why don't you just go talk to somebody? There's a chance that they're trying and they just don't know how, right? I mean, as I just mentioned earlier, it's been 24 months and I still don't have a therapist on my network. I had to go to betterhelp.com, which everybody laughs and says I'm hating on the guys from Barstool. I never hated on the guys from Barstool. It was a joke. If you listened to the video and not just looked at the logo, you'd hear what I had to say. And one of the things I had to say was they had advertisements and commercials for betterhelp.com. And I truly believe they had a part in saving my life. So again, you can say what you want. You can say what you think. Enough of the drama. Let's just get to some golf stuff, right? Enough of the personal, woe is me stuff. But, it gets sparked. Oh, by the way, I don't even know. I kind of got on a rant and got off topic. But the golf professional that called this morning and went on an hour rant with me ended the conversation by saying, "Bud, you just inspired me. I'm going to go hit balls for the first time in years today." And then about 2 hours later, sent me a picture of his bag at the driving range hitting golf balls. So to that golf professional, I, I appreciate you reaching out to tell me that you've been in support of me. And now here's me returning the favor. I'm in support of you. Thank you so much. All it takes is one guy for me to know that I touched him and reached him, to know that I'm not alone. Um, we all know that deep down, but I think a lot of times I don't want to be the one that complains. I don't want to be the one that says anything. So, again, thank you for reaching out and reassuring me, and convincing me that even if this doesn't turn into a financial career, that I've helped some people along the way, and it's pretty awesome. So, want to get into a couple golf course things before we wrap things up. I posted a picture during the PGA Championship of Oak Hill with the split fairways down the middle, right? It's the new trend in golf. It looks clean. Members love it because it looks presentable and dressed up and clean, like not cluttered. Checkerboards were all the rage back in the 80s and 90s, but now lack of clutter is more the rage. It's easy. You cut this way and you cut that way. And guys were like, well, how does it save time? Well, when they're doing those checkerboards, they have to line up the mower perfectly on every mow. And now they got to cut each fairway twice, this way and this way, to get that checkerboard to happen. So when you do the mow that I'm talking about, you pick one straight line down the middle that follows the contour of the hole or the shape of the hole, and you go this way. And then you follow that line and you come back this way, and it creates a light and a dark. And now you go this way again, and you go around and this way again, and you can overlap, so you get the double cut in two passes when you don't have to make one, turn it around, line up the mower, get it straight, make another half pass across the fairway. You just do long, strong mows, and it saves you time. It saves you manpower. It saves you hours. When we're talking about not cutting cups and doing things and not having manpower and time to do it, changing red, white, and blue flags, which I agree with that. But a fellow member made a good point. That's not a superintendent's decision at a member-owned private club. That's a member's decision. I agree. All white flags is fine. All white flags looks more clean. It looks cleaner. It looks presentable. It looks private club. But that's a decision that the members decide. The superintendent doesn't tell you, no, I don't have time to change flag colors. You don't even have time to change cups. You're changing cups 2 days a week. You mean to tell me you can't control flags? But again, it just goes back to my former club, and I don't want to rant about my former club because, again, you get members reaching out to me in texts talking about the prices that they're charging things and the ridiculous, and the words that they're using now is money grab, and everything feels like a money grab. And that's what happens when you're at a privately owned country club. Members resent the owners because they say, well, they're spending money on this, but they're not spending money on that. And that's why you have board of directors. So no one man can have the power and ruin the golf club. Well, that's what's happening in my former club. So you can argue with me all you want, but we talk about mowing patterns. We talk about divot mix. I mean, we have 4 sets of tees, and they have a divot box on every set of tees. That's that many divot boxes that he has to move. Put 1 or 2 out in between each set of tees, so that's that less that he has to get off. You ever see these guys mow the fairways? How about the first cut? They mow the first cut. Why we have a first cut is baffling to me, because the second cut is no longer and thicker than the first cut, so it's a waste of time and waste of energy. But even more on that point, have you ever seen a golf club in the 1995 or later era that has posts and sticks on the side of the fairway for 100-yard markers or 150 markers? It's just clutter, and it's just waste of time and wastes of money. And again, you can make all the excuses that you want about the conditions of the golf course. I could care less about anything else except for the greens. Well, when you're spending time getting off the mower and picking out 4 plastic stakes for 150 and 100-yard markers, when the golf course is probably marked better than any other golf course I've ever played, except for the 4 or 5 sprinkle heads that aren't marked. And oh yeah, they haven't been marked since I've been a member there at 6 years. You think at some point somebody would go out there with a laser and some spray paint and spray paint the number on those 3 or 4 sprinkle heads. So again, these are the things that we talk about with saving money and decisions that are made when golf isn't the first priority. A member reached out last night and said it's laughable what they're charging for the practice round for the state amateur. They're the highest of any club that's hosting an event. Well, it's another one of those things where they think they're doing the MGA a favor. Absolutely not. If the golf course is up to par and it's where it's supposed to be and it's in good conditions, they're doing you a favor. They're putting eyes on that place that would have never been there and never seen it. But when you got mediocre conditions and ridiculous rules and overpriced tournaments, then you don't get eyes on the property, and then you end up with the same members playing the golf course, accepting the same mediocrity because they don't know any better. And that's what you've got there now. You've got members leaving because you cut them in the four ball. Are you kidding me right now? Like, and the quote that I heard was, the vice president cut me in the four ball. The kid's 28 years old. What does the vice president know about his handicap? Like, it's baffling to me how much power you've given up at that club, and it's frustrating. And I don't want to keep going on rants about it, but clearly I'm reaching an audience and a demographic, right? So, yeah. So one of the things, again, I know I got off topic, but the way you mow the fairways can save money. Watering habits, mowing habits saves money. Most places mow the greens by hand, and everywhere else, greens and collars maybe by hand, and everywhere else is sit down triplex or whatever. You see golf courses, some of the high end clubs that use triplexes. So I'm not going to knock it, but all of them that do are very diligent of aeration, verticutting, venting with needle tines, top dressing, because they know the damage that multiple passes with a sit down mower can do. Usually most of those golf courses set the height at a height that is quick enough, and one roll with a big heavy roller, not a rolling adapter to a triplex that is designed to be light in design. So when they do these laughable social media pics, and I'm not singling out my former club because I've seen it at a lot of clubs with multiple mowers going back and forth, blah, 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 blah. All you're doing is doing damage. Way too much traffic, something clearly noted in the Klein report. But the Klein report is a report that they don't want public because Klein doesn't know what he's talking about. Everything that I rant about with the aeration and the less mowing and take trees out. I mean, everything to a word is in the Klein report. The one piece that they took out of the Klein report has nothing to do with golf, was the cart paths. They moved the cart path to the right on 7. Okay, good idea. Cost $100,000 to do it, but golf wasn't thought about, because now if you hit it in those right trees, the ball comes down, lands on the car path, and ends all the way up, all the way back down to where the ladies' tee is. So if you're playing a full field event and 4 guys in a group all hit it right and end up on the cart path, well, guess what? You want to talk about a pace of play nightmare on a hole that is already a pace of play nightmare? That's the shit that I'm talking about. Golf is just not thought about. I can't wait to see the renovations at Worcester. Gil Hans came in, and the golf committee made it a golf decision to follow everything that he said to a T. And now's the time, right? You got money that you have to spend as a private, not-for-profit club. You have to put it back in the golf course. So Thorny Lee charges I don't agree with this personally. I think it's a way to hide the fact that they're charging more for dues than they are, but they have a capital assessment fee every month that goes into a capital assessment fund. And now you get COVID and a golf boom, and now they're doing renovations, and I can't wait to see what they're doing. I was looking at, I don't know, I should have wrote down the name, but the architect that did Fall River Country Club, looks awesome. The trees they cleared out behind 3, the bunkering that they did on 4. I might have to make it a point to try to play Fall River this year. Fall River is one of those golf courses that was a great 9-hole Donald Ross, and they kind of ruined it a little bit by trying to make it in 18 holes. They stuffed 4 or 5 holes that kind of just got stuffed in to make a back nine that, kind of take it down a notch, but it's always in great shape. And it's one of those that I love to play. But again, there's so many places doing renovations, capitalizing on the COVID boom, right? You got the International, uh, just got bought by a company last year, and now they're opening back up. I don't know who was doing it. I know Core Crenshaw did the first one, and I'm not sure who's doing the second one, or if they're even going to do the second one. But all these golf courses at some point have to renovate. I've talked about in the past that a lot of these greens are designed to um, roll, 7 or 8 on the stimp meter, and hole locations have a lot to do with um, enjoyment of a tournament, right? One of the issues that my the former pro at my former club that I know I wrote about it in the blog, and I talked about, I called it in August. We had a conversation during the club championship, and one of the things that he said to me was, man, I got beat up all last week about the hole locations. You know, it sucks because he's the guy on the firing line, but he can't, he's not the one that has say in the decision. If the superintendent wants to sit under the tent and sit at the scorer's table and listen to these guys vent for 7 straight days, by all means, you pick the hole locations. But it's not fair to the guys running the tournament that have enough to do that week, that are working 90 hours that week, that are there from sun up to sundown, even past sundown, doing the scoreboard. Um, and all they have to do is listen to venting about stuff that they don't even have a say in. And it sucks, and I don't blame him for being upset about it. I don't know. I haven't spoken to him, so I don't know if that was um, at all the reason why he left or things like that. And I'm not going to speculate. So I know he was headed to Alpine. I don't know what's going on there. I've heard some mumblings that he's now in sales. If he is, I hope he's happy. He was a good golf pro, and it's a shame that we lost another one in the industry. If he did leave, I'm not sure. Again, I'll reach out and I'll try to talk to him. Who knows? Maybe he might be willing to come on the podcast and talk about why he left if he did. Um, but again, it's not about my former club. It's just that tournament at my former club is a perfect example of what happens everywhere. Do you think Jelly or Obi wanted to listen to the guys at Resi complaining about the whole locations during Resi days because the superintendent thinks it's his show? No, but they're the ones that let it happen. So I don't feel sorry for them. You guys allow it to happen. That's the difference between me and you. I will jump up and down and I will scream and I will flip tables to get my way if and only if I know I'm right. If I know I'm right, I'm going to stick to my guns. And the more disrespectful you get when trying to tell me that I'm wrong, the more disrespectful I get when I'm trying to tell you that I'm right. Again, it's one of those things, it's you try not to go on these rants and you don't know where these episodes are going to turn, but at the same time, you want to get the stuff off your chest that you want to get off your chest, right? Um, Again, as you guys saw on social media, I started hitting some balls this week. I started with some wedges on Wednesday and I tried to stretch it out a little longer on Thursday. This finger is giving me an issue. I guess it's only fitting that it's the middle finger, but it's hurting. I can't close my finger. Fortunately enough, when I hold a golf club, I can swing without it, affecting what I do. So I've been able to hit it. It hurt when I hit the driver. The one thing that I have to learn and I have to get my body to trust is it doesn't hurt when I hit a good shot. It's only when I hit bad shots. So I've reached out to Jeremy from Fujikura. He's busy. He's been traveling quite a bit, but I can't wait to get him on and talk shafts. I think it's time for myself to um, start changing into graphite and thinking about ways to enjoy the game, understand that I'm probably not going to be as good as I used to be, but it's going to hurt a lot less. So, we're starting with that with the knee brace, the ankle brace, and maybe the graphite shafts or the next switch. One of the things that I talked about, and I haven't posted it yet, I'm going to probably do it next week while advertising this episode, was I hit some wedges. And the great thing about Caddyshack, in Dartmouth is they have the net overhanging. So when I go all the way to the right and I hit out of that first bay, I hit at that 50-yard circle. Even if I'm hitting 100-yard shots, I hit it over that 50-yard circle. And here's why. One of the things that I really work on, and I see people struggle with all the time when hitting wedges, is launch angle, right? You'll see me, I hit that 50-yard shot with two different clubs, two different ways. I hit it with a 54-degree shot that when I was fortunate enough to get flown out to California, Juan from Prestige Golf, who's friends with DJ Khalid. I see you at his barbecue. Let's go golfing. Um, he was with me, and we talked to Titleist, and we got in the middle of fitting wedges, and Mr. Vokey came out. He yells at us when we call him that, but Bob came out and he started fitting me. I've always played the M grind, and he said, "Here, try this," and he handed me the S grind, and I was a little surprised because I've always thought of the S grind as an upright front to back, Steve Stricker type motion wedge. And he taught me that shot where you put it off your back foot and then you hit almost like you're trapping it out of a bunker or, out of a punching out of woods, and you keep that flight low with a 54-degree and it lands on the green, hits one hop and stops, but then obviously we're going to have times where we have to go up and we have to go over a bunker, but I still want to do that with the same swing. I changed the flight with ball position. As I move the ball a little further forward in my stance, I catch it a little later in the swing. It adds loft and the ball goes up. But at the same time, I don't want it to go up early. I want to control flight with spin. So I'm trying to keep all of my wedges at all times under the netting above me at Caddyshack. And I go there, I buy a large bucket. I hit wedges until I feel kind of loose enough. It's tough for me to get loose now. Then I make some full swings, and then I make as many full swings until I feel pain, and then I go back to hitting some wedges for the rest of the trip. But it's coming back. A lot of the things that I had planned on doing with this podcast involve golf, and it doesn't work if I'm not playing golf. So as you can tell, I got my swag check. I went to Catman Sports to pick up my gear. All this stuff that I've had from FootJoy and Puma that I've been waiting to show off, but I've just been waiting for the logo to get done. I picked a tough time. It's no fault of theirs. It's my fault. I picked a tough time. I picked right during baseball season and Little League, and they had a ton of stuff to get done that was more of a priority. And I completely understand. I was fortunate enough for them to get these hats for me, rushed out day of. And to the guys that have reached out asking for these, I haven't forgot you. It's like I said, it was a tough week health wise, and I didn't get to a lot of things that I wanted to get to. So I will get these out this week. I promise. I apologize for the delay. Hopefully I will be ordering some of these to sell. Other than that, you see the logo with Bogey on it. Now you know why. He will always be here. He will always be part of my set. While going through the storage unit the other day, kind of sad, I found his collar. It was his first collar from Old Sandwich, Smathers and Branson collar, and it was kind of a sad moment. But we're on the other side of that now, where we're laughing at the fun times that we had with Bogey. No more sad memories. Occasionally, obviously, when I get down, I kind of miss having somebody to talk to. So I guess the way to say it is you guys are now my new Bogey. I've kind of hinted on social media. It's time, as soon as I find my new place, which we're in the process of looking for somewhere. As soon as I find a new place, we will have a dog, and I think I'm going. I think I'm going to go female Birdie. So wrinkly bulldogs. I love the one that I got the first time. So why ruin a good thing? If I may try to rescue one first, but if I can't, we're going right back to where we got Bogey from, and I'm looking for a female. So, all right, everybody. I knew it was going to be a short episode. I almost didn't even do one this week, but thank you so much to the golf pro that called and reached out. It means something to me. It means that you guys are listening, and I really appreciate the high five. And I wish more golf pros would join. And any one of you that has reached out privately, you're always welcome. Anytime you want to come on the podcast, please come on. I'm always looking for guests. As I've mentioned in some of the blogs that I wrote, one of the toughest things in the golf industry was for me to call in a favor. Hey, so and so, can I play your golf course with my girlfriend this afternoon? But it was one of those things where I wanted to enjoy time with her, and I wanted to enjoy things that I never took advantage of. This November, I was fortunate enough to get the invite as a thank you at the country club. I sent a text to three guys. One guy was just like, I'm in. The other two were, one, I have to work. I have my kids. Is that the only time you can do? Yes, it's the only time they gave me. And again, I don't mean to single them out. I get it. We have lives, but there's certain clubs, there's certain places that you just say yes. So a lot of times I didn't want to go through the hassle of finding three guys to play golf. That was another benefit of having your golf partner living with you. But again, not to dwell on the past, I'm in such a good place right now, mental health wise, and I can't thank all of you who have reached out and support enough. There's been a lot of guys reaching out behind the scenes, and to all of you guys that get it and understand that I'm not trying to be negative, I'm just trying to be honest and be real. There's going to be as many positives coming as soon as we start to get some guests. So happy Memorial Day weekend. This was always my favorite week of the year. This was kind of golf season, right? We always started as a kid growing up at reservation. This was weekend, first four ball weekend. And then when I kind of got older, it became tournament weekend for me. So it was kind of cool working up in the Boston area at Harmon. A lot of members take off, to go to the Cape or go to the Vineyard. So I was able to get a lot of holiday weekends off. Again, I can't stress enough. I wasn't ever unhappy with my compensation. I wasn't unhappy with my schedule. I was unhappy with some things that were happening behind the scenes and my voice not being heard. So when it was time to leave, it was time to leave. So I have no regrets. I have no hard feelings. I love those guys over there, and I wish them nothing but the best. A couple guys have reached out. Where should I get fit? And that's the first place I tell them. I've heard the guy at Harmon. I know nothing about Greg. I've never been fit by him. I've never seen him fit. So I know nothing about him, but the few people that I've said, go check out Greg at Harmon, have come back with pretty good reports. So again, I don't want to beat a dead horse on the fitting thing. I can't wait to get Jeremy on here from Fujikura. I know we'll talk more about this, about the indoor and the outdoor fitting, right? I got fit by Bob Vokey for my wedges. I got taught how to fit by Bob Vokey and Aaron Dill. I'm pretty good when it comes to my hands, when it comes to fitting wedges, when it comes to seeing and hearing what I'm looking for, things that you can't get fit indoors. Again, it's one of those, I'll talk until I'm blue in the face, but I just, you're never going to convince me that it's a better product. For the millions of golfers that don't really care and just want to get a fit that's better than what they have now, I get it. No problem. Better than not being fit at all. But for the guys that are looking to really make the investment, that are open to upcharge shafts, not guaranteed to upcharge shafts, but open to upcharge shafts, make sure you're not being sold something. Too many times, and I'm going to use the used car salesman reference. Too many times used car salesmen overpromise and underdeliver, right? And overcharge. So that's all I'm saying about those, box store fitters is just beware of what you're getting into. There's probably 25 to 30% of their fitters throughout the country that are top notch and are some of the best in the country. But the locations that do not have one of those fitters, do you really want to go spend $5,000 on a set of clubs that probably had an agenda one way or the other, whether it was a push from a brand or a push from a shaft or something to get you to spend extra money, puring your shafts. Listen, if you're a 10 or 12 handicap, you can find a stock shaft that works just as well and spend a few $100s on lessons. And if you can't, you're the one, or 10% of that population that falls into an upcharge shaft. And hey, buy it. It's worth it. I play the Ventus. You saw it. You saw my what's in the bag the other day at the range. That's the last thing I'm going to touch on real quick. We're currently playing the TSI 3 10 degree set at B1 with a Ventus Blue 6S tip to half inch, playing 44 and 3/4 inches with the weight set all the way out on the toe. I'm not sure why. Be careful when I tell you everybody is different and everything affects people differently, right? When you see weight out on the toe, you see automatic fade. Well, I don't know if it's my late release or the way I lag the club, but weight on the toe helps me kick the toe through and get the face closed at the end and get it square. So I've always played a fade driver, even though it actually helps prevent the fade for me. So again, just another thing that I found out about my game while fitting myself. Yeah, I mean, the rep around here has offered me a Titleist driver, and I know Gibby, who does the Titleist staff stuff, said anytime you need anything, give me a call. I, I'm a little superstitious. Right now, the TSI 3 I have in the bag is probably one of my favorite drivers I've had forever. It feels great. I have it set up perfectly, and I'm fortunate enough to be one of the ones that has one of the tour heads, so the quality control on that and everything, it's just kind of one of those peace of mind things where, you know, it better be a lot better and a lot different for me to replace a tour head driver. So again, I'll try. I'm open to it. I'm open to trying the Cobra. Obviously, Cobra has kind of been great with me, allowing me to use their name, Cobra Puma. I've got some decisions to make on that front. That's why I haven't really been going hard with the Cobra Puma thing. But they are there and they have been great. And the partner discount I get on sneakers and things like that is unbelievable. So to the support from them, I can't thank you guys enough. Everybody, I can't. It's been amazing, and I wanted to do a mental health check-in to let you guys know where I'm at and what's going on in my life, because uh, it's been years since I've been this happy and having this much fun. So part of that I owe to all of you that are listening, and especially the ones that are commenting and sharing and chiming. Listen, you're not going to agree with everything I have to say, and I understand that. Nobody is, right? We're not going to agree with anything everybody has to say. All I ask is you treat me respectfully. If you disagree with something that I have to say and want to come on and discuss it respectfully, you have an open invitation to anybody, right? Just don't tell me I don't know what the bleep I'm talking about, because clearly I do. Um, yeah, so this has been awesome. Thank you guys so much to the couple people that I reached out early in the week that offered support, saying it's not worth it. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. I appreciate it. But we're getting to that point where we got to start figuring out a job and health insurance. I just can't keep living life in this much pain. So, all right, guys, I know we talked about a few things. I'm going to tag some people on this one. That's for sure. Don De Niro, Liam Friedman, Juan at Prestige Golf, DJ Khaled, let's go golfing. Funny story with that one, Juan, if you watch, I believe it's I'm So Hood. You guys have heard me talking about Gino Green Global. Well, T-Pain's in that video wearing Gino Green Global. So I've been at events with Khaled before. We've talked just in passing. Obviously, I don't know him to call him. So these dudes are awesome. I love it. Michael Block, keep doing your thing. Keep riding your ride. And to the golf professional that called me this morning, again, anytime you need to vent, anytime you need to talk, I'm here off the record. But you're more than welcome to come and do it on the record anytime. So I apologize. I got cut off. The phone cut off due to overheating in my room. That's how hot it is in my bedroom right now. So I was wrapping it up. I don't know exactly where it finished. So I'll just finish with this. to everybody following along that's been reaching out to me in support, I can't thank you guys enough. And to the golf professional that called me this morning and told me that I inspired him to go hit balls again today, and sent me the picture of him actually doing it. Thank you so much. It gives me the motivation to keep doing this. So until next time, guys, even the guys that are haters that are following along, I get money for your clicks too. So I love all of you guys. Um, it's truly awesome to be able to come on here and talk about my mental health and talk about where I am, and being in a better place. I've talked about it. It was a leaving Las Vegas moment. I was planning on going to Florida, blowing all my money and partying my life away until it ended. Fortunately, I woke up, but now I'm paying the price for some of the decisions that I made financially and health wise. So we all have to suffer consequences, and we all have to do what we have to do to survive. I'm coming back. I got my swag back. I'm me again for the first time in a long time, and I think the people that love me and are around me see it. So um, until next time, guys, again, happy Memorial Day. Be safe. With Uber and everything going on right now, there's no need to drink and drive. Stay safe, have fun, but let's go.